Welcome back to the Apex Hour podcast. Oh my goodness, I think it's been 6 months since my last podcast. Sorry about that. Not that anybody really watched it, but just been really busy with school. But it's summer now. I'm out. I'm free, and I'm bored. And I remembered, wow, I have a podcast that I have not been keeping up with. So I'm here now. And a lot has happened, we can definitely say, since that 6 months has passed. I think the most obvious ones have been, like, Lewis moving to Ferrari, a lot of other things that I'm just completely blanking on right now. But I've heard a bunch of rumors that I would like to just think out loud about, like break down, because a lot of them seem ridiculous, but some of them are actually kind of smart when you think about it. Like, they could be possible. So the first one I'd like to start with is that Kimi Antonelli is going to be the next Mercedes driver, which I think is beyond ridiculous. I mean, he's a great driver, obviously. I mean, I've seen clips of him. I mean, I think one race he literally had a broken hand and somehow managed to win his race. But although he's a very good driver, he just doesn't have the experience to be in Formula One, which is literally like the epitome of motorsport. So yeah, I don't think him being in F1 is gonna come anytime very soon, especially not 2025. And next is that Yuki Tsunoda is moving to Mercedes. And maybe you haven't heard this before, but I've just been seeing it everywhere. And people have been saying that they've seen George Russell talking to Yuki a lot. Yuki's my favorite driver, if you didn't know, if you're new. Yuki and Carlos Sainz, because I can't choose between the two. And honestly, Yuki has just been doing so well, like this season, last season. I mean, last year, everybody was saying, like, oh, Yuki doesn't belong here, he's just not experienced enough, yet he beats out, Nick DeVries, Daniel Ricciardo, and sometimes Liam Lawson, and then this season he's beating Daniel as well. So definitely, he's definitely doing really well, and I honestly think that if he moves to Mercedes, I hope he'll drive better. Literally, today is Friday, so the P1 for Monaco just happened, and Lewis was the fastest, so we'll just have to see how everything plays out. And honestly, what I thought was going to happen was, I thought that Fernando Alonso was going to take the Mercedes seat, and then Aston Martin was going to try and sign Yuki, which I think would have been great. Because I honestly think that Yuki's just kind of tired of being stuck there in Visa Cash Shop Racing Bulls. God, I hate that name. I'm just gonna call them AlphaTauri. But yeah, so that's that. And the second one is that the third one is that Carlos Sainz is moving to Red Bull. Okay, honestly, we've all seen, how they took in Checo, well, when he didn't have a seat, but I honestly think that they're gonna offer Perez another contract. Obviously he hasn't been, well, I don't want to make anybody mad, but, obviously Max is outperforming him this season, and I feel like he's definitely done better in the past, but he's still, like, a really solid second driver, because let's be real, Max is, like, the number one driver, so he's just a really good driver for them to have, and I feel like he's definitely a really big team player, whereas, Carlos Sainz, as we've seen, he can be very, well, I mean, every F1 driver has to think about themselves, you know? It's their career. And I feel like sometimes drivers are more inclined to think about their own success than the team, and you have to factor that in when you look at Carlos and Checo. Especially with a driver like Max. Which, honestly, I'm kind of glad that in the Miami Grand Prix, Lando was catching up to him and was kind of showing that the McLaren kind of had almost a better pace than Red Bull, because it showed that, you know, that Red Bull isn't just good because their car is like carrying their drivers. It's because Max is just genuinely a phenomenal driver. You know, he was able to hold up against Lando, whereas I think Checo had 8th. So it definitely shows that the driver skills is definitely a huge part of their success, which I think is great. And I'm looking down right now, and I have a notorious foot tan right now. Like, oh my god. It's like light and then dark. Like, jeez. Yeah. Anyways, so I think that was the third one. Yes, that was the third one. And then, okay, I've heard a lot about Audi. Carlos Sainz and Audi. I think if nobody else offers him a contract, he's gonna take it. And if I'm being completely honest, you have two different sides of people. You have the people who are saying, you know, Audi's gonna be great because they have so many resources, you know, like in literally every other racing league, they've done pretty well. And they're just going to be a great team. And then you have the other side with people who are saying, oh, it's Sauber. It's basically going to be Sauber, and Sauber kind of, well, they do suck. So, you know, they're just going to be trash. And those are the same people who are saying if Carlos Sainz signs with them, signs with them, then his career is over. And honestly, I have to say I'm leaning more towards that because, I mean, we've seen, like, everybody was like, oh my god, they're going to be so good at Alfa Romeo. And then, you know, it's like the same thing. Maybe even a bit worse. I don't know. But, yes, I think he will definitely take the contract if he doesn't have any other option. And, you know, you have the people who are saying, oh, Mercedes recognizes that Carlos is a good driver, but honestly, when I heard that, it was just like, I haven't seen them together at all. Like, Red Bull and Carlos makes, I just dropped something. Red Bull and Carlos makes sense because, you know, you always see them talking, like, we've seen their dads talking, and obviously we know that Carlos is, he used to drive for them, their junior team back then, way back when, and we also know how Christian is, Christian Horner. We know that he is a very no-nonsense guy, and that he will do whatever he thinks is best for his team. And, you know, when he sees a race winner, like previously he saw Checo, and he was like, oh, that's a great driver, I can't pass up on this. You know, he's the type of guy where he doesn't really care about feelings. You know, he does what he thinks he has to do to win. Whereas Toto, you know, he's more inclined to, I feel like, be a bit more, not careful, both are very careful, but I feel like Carlos just isn't somebody maybe appealing to him. I don't know, like, you never see them really talking. So, not that it's friendship, no, definitely not saying that, but I can't see Carlos driving for Mercedes. And, you know, maybe this will circle back and bite me in the ass, and he will drive for Mercedes, and it'll kind of just be like a driver swap. But, I'm honestly just praying that Carlos finds a seat, because that had to have been heartbreaking. Like, just losing your seat that you thought for sure you had. And honestly, he's a phenomenal driver. Like, he won a race this season, like, right after surgery. Just a very strong, resilient person, and I pray that this season he does really well. I think in FP1 he got, I think he was P10 for fastest lap. There was some kind of a disturbance. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was sleeping. But yeah, not really. Not the best time that you would want. Obviously you aim for top 3 or first. And there's a bunch of other things that I, like conspiracies that I saw that I cannot find in my notes app because it's tweaking out right now. No, not D1. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. I saw that Williams has been talking with Carlos Sainz. That is... Okay. What I just said about Audi, Audi is either, I feel like, gonna be, like, good, or they're gonna be really, really bad. And, at least it's kind of like 50-50 because we have no idea. We haven't really heard anything about it. So at least there's a chance it could be good. Whereas Williams have just consistently been fighting for P20 in the nicest way possible. But, like, love Logan, fellow American, but obviously things just probably aren't working out the way he wants them to work out. And, I'm trying to be gracious when I say this, because I know a lot of other, like, influencers who talk about F1. Not that I'm an influencer. I'm the furthest thing from an influencer. I think the highest amount of views one of my videos has got is, like, 2. But, definitely, I think Williams is not a very good... They're not looking very good right now. They're not the fastest. They're kind of fighting just to be in the points. And so, we kind of already know that they're not as good as a lot of other options. So I feel like taking Williams, signing a contract with them is kind of like signing the end of your career, in my opinion, because they just suck right now, honestly. Whereas, if you sign with Audi, it's like, oh, they could either be really good or really bad. So it's kind of like you take that chance. But Williams, it's like, there's no chance. You already know they're going to suck. And honestly, I don't know. Albon and Sainz would be a really interesting pair, I think, to see. And in all honesty, I totally, if Fernando didn't sign for Mercedes, I totally thought that it was going to be, that they were going to sign Alex, because he's a good choice. He's been consistently, scoring higher than P20. Maybe not in the points, but... And honestly, I just think that it wouldn't... I don't think Williams is Carlos's, like... I don't think that's his style, honestly. Like, I don't know how to explain it, and I know it sounds stupid, but I cannot see him driving for Williams. I don't think he will. I think he's smart enough to know that they don't really have a competitive car, or they definitely don't. And like, honestly, with Carlos, it's just a really crappy situation. Like, we know that if Lewis hadn't, like, wanted that seat, then Carlos probably, then he probably would have gotten re-signed. But, that's F1 for you. And honestly, I just think that, when you have a team like Aston Martin, you have Lawrence Stroll, you have Lance Stroll, I think that I think what people fail to, like, remember when they watch F1 is even the worst people in F1 who are, like, scoring at the back of the grid, even the worst people in F1, although they might look bad, they're still one of 20 of the best drivers in the world. Like, even the worst driver on the grid right now is, like, one of the best in the world. And that's what I have to, like, when I talk to people about Lance Stroll, and they're immediately like, oh my god, he sucks, he's terrible, he didn't deserve a seat. It's like, he's still a phenomenal driver, you know, like, he made, like, maybe his dad's money had something to do with it, yeah, but, I mean, use that to your advantage. I mean, I know I would. And, okay, no, however, he's made some rookie mistakes, and, you know, it's kind of at the point where it's like, maybe somebody else needs that seat. And again, I literally just said that, like, he is a good driver, but I think that if Fernando and Carlos were to be on a team together, that'd just be so, like, it'd be good, yes, but it'd be so convenient for Aston Martin because, you know, they're both Spaniards, you know, and having two Spaniards on a team together, that would bring in so many just Spaniard sponsors. Again, it'd just be really convenient for them. But again, you know, the situation is what the situation is. Sucks for Carlos, but he's a good enough driver. I mean, he's a race winner, definitely. So he should have or find a seat. And speaking of good drivers, Miami. No, did I say No, not in Miami. He wasn't chasing down Max and lost. He won in Miami. I wish I could have seen it, cause no, I saw the end of the race when he won, but I didn't get to see the whole thing cause I was golfing. But yeah, no, honestly, so amazing for him, you know. And then we had Max's little iconic line. You know, if my mom had balls, she'd be my dad. I love his personality. It's so, like, he's just so nonchalant about everything. And, like, the fact that he said that kind of in defense of Lando, I mean, let's kind of be real here. The safety car, if that hadn't happened, it would have been really difficult for Lando to get that win. But honestly, he got it, and we're just going to leave it at that and be happy for him because he fully and totally deserves it. You know, we could see him on the podium, like, taking everything in. It's like the widest smile ever. You know, I mean, it's got to be crazy to be up there for the first time. Like, I think the average amount of people who watch a race is like 70 million people, just like worldwide, I think. That's so crazy. Like 70 million people are like watching you online, and that's like you already have so many people in front of you, like looking up at the podium. Like already that's got to be surreal. But then just to think later that like basically almost like it must feel like the entire world is looking at you, and you know, so obviously just you want to take that all in. But yeah, really happy for him. I forget what race it was, but I don't know. But oh my god, the Carlos Oscar beef is crazy. It's kind of annoying though for me because it's like Yuki and Carlos are my favorite, and then it's Oscar. Just because I think he's quieter. You know, I don't really. I just like his personality. He's quiet. He's nice. They can be funny, you know, but the fact that, like, they're all in my top 3, but 2 of them are, like, mortal enemies is really funny sometimes, but just really annoying mid-race, you know, but, oh my god, speaking of annoying, Kevin Magnussen, dude, like, every single race, it's like, he sees Nico in the points, and he's like, I do not care about any penalties. He is staying there. I will defend him with my life. It's so funny. It's so funny to think about. It was really funny to watch because everybody was like, what the hell is he doing? But yeah, no, that's okay. Let me look my notes up again. I have more, definitely. Oh my god, Adrian Newey. Okay, he has left Red Bull, if you didn't know, which, I mean, how could you not know? But if you didn't know, Adrian Newey did leave Red Bull, and as of right now, we don't know where he's going. If you don't know who Adrian Newey is, he used to be the chief tech officer of Red Bull Racing, but he moved. And people are actually saying that, maybe the reason Carlos is talking with Williams is because Adrian Newey is going to Williams. But honestly, everybody's saying maybe he's going to Mercedes, Ferrari, I think he might retire, if I'm being honest. And maybe that's me sounding stupid, but he's been in the sport for so long. Honestly, he's just been kind of a staple of Formula One. I think he won 13 drivers championships and maybe 12 constructors. People call him the greatest of all time. But I think he might just retire. He's made a name for himself. He's done everything. I think 13 drivers or 12 constructors is a lot more than enough. That's and obviously probably financially he's doing great. And I just think that, he would want to live out the rest of his life, maybe not traveling to a country every 2 weeks. Unless you like that. I would love doing that. Eventually the jet lag would get to you, but I think he's just going to retire. And I don't blame him. He's had a fulfilling F1 life. But if he does sign with the team, I think that would be great for him again. Because some people just have that drive. They want to keep working, they want to keep doing what they love, and obviously Adrian being in F1 for as long as he has, he definitely loves what he does. And speaking of people, Helmut Marko, oh my god, he has definitely not lost his love for F1. I think he's 80 years old, maybe 81. He is, wow, he just does not know how to keep his mouth shut, honestly. In a nice way, he just has to comment on everything. I love him though. He's obviously said some questionable things, but I really do think that he's an interesting person. But yes, that is, I think, all of the rumors I have that I think maybe know enough to talk about. Because I have a bunch of other ones that I'm looking through right now, but I don't want to piss anybody off with maybe an improper, I don't want to seem ignorant or I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, no, I guess thank you for listening this far. Other than F1 that I have going on right now, I'm watching the Stanley Cup. My favorite team, oh god, they lost okay, take a guess. They lost in the first round of the playoffs last year after breaking the record. I'll give you 3 seconds. It'll be like Jeopardy. Do 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 do. It's the Boston Bruins. Yeah, favorite team. I actually get a lot of hate for liking them. People are always like, "Why, you're from Atlanta?" Well, 1, we don't have a team. 2, it was my dad's favorite team because he's from Boston. So I feel like it's valid that I like them, that they're my favorite team. I was kind of raised as one, so yeah. But yeah, no, they got knocked out. At least they beat the Leafs, right? We didn't want to lose that 50-year streak that we had going up against them. But the Florida Panthers, damn, it's come on, it's the South. How do they have such a good team? Speaking of the South and teams, where I live, Georgia, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, we are actually, I think they're talking about making a new team. I think they might have approved it already or something, and they want to build a stadium, which, if I'm being completely honest, I think it's really dumb, because we've lost not one, but two teams. The Flames, we used to be the Atlanta Flames, now we are the Calgary Flames. We also lost, well, that was the second team we had. The first team that we lost was the Atlanta, I think, Thrashers. Started in, I think, 1997, and as of right now, we are the only city to have lost not one, but two hockey teams, because literally nobody in Atlanta cares about hockey. At school, I get picked on for keeping up with it by my friends. They're like, oh, you like hockey, you like watching men hit each other and beat each other up. No, if that was the case, I'd just watch boxing or whatever. But, yeah, too bad they got eliminated. They better give Jeremy Swayman a raise. He's probably my favorite player. Not just because he's good, but because we have the same birthday. So, and we're like exactly a decade apart. So that's really cool. Yeah. So that's. I probably shouldn't be talking about hockey on a Formula One podcast, but gotta make some new hockey fans, some Bruins fans specifically. Be a Bruins fan, I swear. You'll cry a lot. It'll be like being a Ferrari fan, but I think actually the Bruins are kind of like the Ferrari of hockey when you kind of think about it. I mean, they've been in the sport for a very, very long time. Exactly 100 years now. I think obviously they made a big deal about the whole centennial thing. They started in 1924. It's 2024 right now, so exactly 100 years they've been in the sport. A freaking long time. They have all the clout. They're decently good. I mean, during the regular season they're amazing, but they just freaking keep blowing it in the playoffs and falling apart. But yeah, in a way, they are the Ferrari of hockey, I guess you could argue. But yeah, right now my favorite teams aren't really doing so well. Except for maybe Ducati. Ducati's doing pretty well. They've gotten a couple podiums. Dude, I swear, if Marquez signs with Ducati, dude, that's like a win right there. Like a championship in the bag right there, like right in front of you, dangling right in front of your nose. Yeah, so Boston Bruins aren't really doing too well, not doing well, at least in the playoffs. Ferrari, I mean they're second in the constructors, but I mean we can see McLaren. There's a man in the woods. It's McLaren in the woods, actually. Red Sox, oh god, I don't even want to talk about it. They suck. Oh, that's like one of my friends actually texted me. He was like, he sent me a photo of the Atlanta Braves. They beat the Red Sox, and he was like, oh, go cry. And then I sent him a screenshot of when we beat his favorite team, the Cubs, 17-0, and he left me unread. He probably cried about it, but that's what you get. Fight fire with fire, unless it's the Calgary Flames, because they got extinguished in Atlanta. So, that was a really bad pun. But yeah, no, oh my god, a cardinal. Why is that one bald? It doesn't have, like, the thing in the back of its head that they all do. A woman cardinal. Oh, there's, like, a boy and a girl. I think if I was a bird, I'd be a cardinal. That's what one of my friends said. They were like, you're loud, annoying, aggressive, and you like red, bright red. That'd be you. I was like, well, aren't the bright red ones male? Yeah. So, but the female ones are like brown, but they have like these really pretty, like bright yellow beaks, or bright orange, or whatever. I don't know, but, oh, it's eating like a cockroach. Oh, it just pecked at it. Like multiple times. Ew. Anyways, that's all I had to talk about. I think I got pretty off topic for like the last maybe 10 minutes. But oh my god, genuinely, thank you so much for watching this. You know, even if nobody watches it, it's a bright orange beak. I'm looking at the female cardinal right now. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I think, you know, even if nobody watches these, I just really enjoy, you know, having a place where I can talk about it, because none of my friends really like Formula One. You know, they tolerate me talking about it. So even if like one person is watching this, thank you so much, like, genuinely. And hopefully, you know, after race weekend, or even maybe tomorrow, I will have some more things to talk about, because I feel like this season is really crazy, you know, with all the driver switches and the lineups. So yes, again, for like the 50th time, thank you very, 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 very much. Thank you so much for listening, and subscribe, please, pretty please. You know, it's literally free, and it doesn't hurt you at all. Like, it literally does not affect your account in any way. Like, if you just hit subscribe, like, you don't even have to watch my videos, just hit subscribe, please, I'm begging you. But anyways, thank you for tuning in to the Apex Hour podcast with me, your host, Noelle Girardi, and hopefully in, I don't know, maybe if I somehow make money, I will be able to get a real mic and maybe a camera, which would be, I think, really cool. I also, like, need a good thumbnail, so yeah. Alright, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Adios, amigo.